What is he doing? He's sowing. Everybody say sowing. Everybody say process. Look at someone, say, honey, you're in the process. Don't give up. Keep sowing. So they send for Joseph, and Joseph tells him the dreams and what to do with them. 7 years of plenty, 7 years of famine, gather up the food. And so he says to Joseph, I'm an administrator. And who's been practicing? Joseph had been practicing. And see, some will come to me, I want to try and sing. I say, well, do you sing in your church? No. Do you take voice lessons? No. Do you solo in it? No. The answer is no. No practice, right? Practice is really important. So he tells us 10 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. And here's something very interesting. The Pharaoh gives him a new coat. See, there'll come a day when the store what he stole, it'll be bad. Had before. The way God works is so wonderful. So, 7 years of plenty, they gather up the food. 7 years of famine, they kind of parcel it out. Something is happening to Joseph's family because the famine has hit where they are too. So the father, Jacob, he thinks Joseph is dead. He sends some of his boys down to buy some grain. And when they come to the border of Egypt, and remember, Joseph is the administrator and recognizes them. And I don't know, if when you read that part of Genesis, he's always crying. That really touches me. They don't recognize him, but he recognizes them. And he kind of fools with them and does some things, asks about the father, asks about Benjamin. And so they go back to the father, take the grain, and then they're out again. And they have to go back, and they have a brother there that's in prison, that Joseph has kept in prison. And they come back to get more grain. And there's quite a few things he does in between. I won't go into all. But Joseph sees them and invites them for dinner and puts them seated in order of their age, and they don't quite know what to do with it. And Joseph begins to weep and tells them, I am your brother. And they think, oh my goodness, he wants to kill us. And he said, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. And he saved his family because what he held on to his dreams. Those dreams were family dreams. Sheaves bowing down to him, he was going to feed them, right? Sun, moon, and stars, his father is going to move down there. And they were going to live in Egypt and be under him. Those were true dreams. But he didn't get mad and get bitter. And bitterness is an ugly, ugly thing. And being a pastor's wife for 57 years, I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me. When you're on radio or television or you're going and holding meetings in other countries, you don't have people abuse you much. But in church, you can pour your guts into somebody and they walk off like, how do I spell your name? You'd like to slap them sideways. And then in church, you have to always be ready with something fresh to feed them. Don't preach the same sermon you preached last year. And all of that was practice. Everybody say, practice. It was all good for me. So then, when I was 45, I was very involved with radio, but I wanted to get more into television. And so I went to TBN, and the Crouches were very good to me. They gave me 3 programs I would do every week, and they paid for them. So I began to see people writing in and calling in, and people who were getting healed, who were getting saved. I thought, man, television is really a good way to go. So I went to Paul Crouch, and I said,